Hey there, I'm Lance and I'm a gamer.
And I'm Sam and I'm a non-gamer.
And we are Love to Hate, where we try to help gamers find great games to play with non-gamers.
And today we're taking a look at Pass the Party Food by Joey Games.
Pass the Party Food is a new game from a new publisher, Joey Games, which is from designer Phil Walker Harding and his wife Meredith Walker Harding, and this is their new company, their new publishing company, Joey Games. So Pass the Party Food is a cooperative game in which you and the other players are going to be working together to collect different Australian party foods. All of which I've never heard of before, but they sound very interesting and I'd like to try them all. But you're trying to collect all of these party foods and completing rows and columns of different foods before the dog, the nemesis in this game, is stealing the food away from you. So you're trying to get the food away from the dog kind of concept with this game. So let's check out how it plays down below and then we'll come back and share our thoughts on it as a gamer and non-gamer. All right, here's Pass the Party Food on the table. Let me show you guys how this cooperative game about Australian party food is going to work. Now in this game, you've got some player boards here. You've got a central board, you've got some pawns, and you've got a dog meeple here. And you are trying to make sure that you move all of the pawns down here to the birthday cake without any of them getting caught by the dog pawn. And so the dog pawn is going to be the antagonist in this game. Stay away from the dog. Now, you also have a bag here, and inside this bag are going to be lots of food tokens that are food tiles, that are of different types of Australian party foods. And the rule book explains to you what each of these are. I am not Australian, so these are all foreign to me. I don't know what they are. But what you are going to be doing in this game, you will have a number of tiles already out here on the dog, and you can change this up depending on how hard of a game you want to play. I will tell you, this is a very challenging game, and so you may not want to start with 3 already on the dog. You may want to start with 1, or you may want to start with none to make the game a little more easier for yourself. But you and all of your teammates are also going to have 1 on your player board, and you place them on the spot that they match furthest up from the bottom. So, now I am ready to start the game. And so what is going to happen in this particular game, you're going to start by drawing a token for the dog. And so thematically what is happening here is the dog is stealing food from the table, and you want to make sure that you are able to get enough of the treats for yourself before the dog steals too many and gets the birthday cake and ruins the entire party. So we have placed this Pop-Tart looking item here on top of the player board for the dog. This is the dog player board, and the icons up here remind you of what you're doing on your turn. So you can see we draw 1 out of the bag for the dog, and if the dog completes a row or column, then you're going to move the dog that number of spaces forward on this board over here. So you want to try and hope that the dog does not fill up rows or columns too quickly. And you yourself are trying to do the same. You're trying to fill up a row or a column, and you will move yourself that number of spaces when you have done that. So we've done the turn for the dog. Now we got to take the turn for ourselves. And so you're going to draw 1 tile out of this bag and immediately decide which of these plates you're going to place that treat on. You can place it on the plate to the left, which means you will hand it to the player on your left, and they will place it on their board. You can either place it on the plate in the middle, which will give it to yourself, or place it on the plate to the right, which will give it to the player on your right side. And whichever one you end up choosing, I've already got a snake, so maybe I want to get another snake. I cannot choose that when I draw my second tile, because I've already placed one there. So now I have to give this margarita pizza looking one. That's not a margarita pizza. It's a different Australian food. I have to place it on one of the other 2 plates. So maybe I give it to the player on my right, and then I draw 1 more tile on my turn, and there's another Pop-Tart looking thing. I'm going to put it on the plate to the player on my left. And now I would pass these party food items to those particular players, and I would place my snake here right there. And again, if I filled up a row or column, then I would move myself forward. And that's the gist of the game. When we get to certain spots on the board, we get to draw extra from the bag. However, if the dog gets to those spaces on the board, the dog will also get to draw from the bag. You do have some special tiles that you can use on your turn. Now, these are one-time use. You've got 2 swap tiles, and what that's going to let you do is you can play one of them to swap one of the tiles somewhere on your board with a tile on someone else's board, one of your teammates. You can do that twice. And then you have a take tile, which means you can just simply play this to take a tile off of that player's board to put it somewhere on your board. And that's the gist of the game. If the dog ever catches any one pawn, then the players lose. If all the players can get to the birthday cake, though, then the players win. And that's all there is to it. Let's go back up top and share our thoughts on Pass the Party Food. And we're back, and now we're going to share our thoughts on Pass the Party Food from a gamer and non-gamer's perspective. So, Sam, first impressions, what'd you think of this one?
It's fun. I like these type of games. There's been a couple that we've had that just had the same feel, the little squares and lining them up, and I like the idea that it was cooperative, and it just felt familiar.
Okay, yeah. It's got a nice welcoming look to it with the fluorescent type colors to the game, and the components being these party food, these treats that look appealing and tasty. And yeah, like you said, you're working together on this. There's a common goal and a common adversary with this game that is actively working to get to a goal faster than you are. That's the type of mechanics that are at play with this one. You are drawing things out of a bag, and so there is a luck mechanic as based off of what you pull out of the bag. But you have an idea of what's left in the bag, and so there's some probability tied into this. But it plays off this idea of I pull one thing, and I don't know what I'm going to get on my next 2 pulls, but I've got to make a choice as to who gets this. Do I keep it for myself? Do I pass it to you? Do I pass it to the person on my other side? You got to make these choices. So you have imperfect information. For you as a non-gamer, what's that gameplay experience like?
I mean, it's pretty easy. It's basic probability. It's just paying attention to what's going on with everyone else's. It was we played it with our 8-year-old. She understood everything about it. It wasn't just basic understanding. She understood this game. And not to say that it's super easy. It's just very understandable.
Yeah. She played it like a pro. She played it just about as well as Sam and I could play it. Now, I will say, I think there are some times in the game where it sort of feels like it's very obvious what you should do, and that's just the choice that you should make. And then there's some other times when you do have to make some tough choices, right? Like, do I give this to the person who would make it one step closer to them completing a scoring set? Or do I help this person over here who's got like nothing going for them so far, and maybe by giving this, it gives them a little bit of direction to go on their path.
Yeah.
You do have to kind of make some of those challenging choices, but I will say there's some ebbs and flows with the game, because again, there's some times where it's obvious I should keep this or I should give it to you. So it's like that the game's playing itself a little bit at that point. But otherwise, I think the other times it's pretty good. So let's get to some pros and cons with this particular one. For you, what stands out to you in a positive way?
I mean, it's very easy. It's pretty.
Let's clarify. Easy to understand, I think, is what you meant.
Yes, it's very easy to understand. It's very quick to set up.
Yeah.
It's visually appealing, and it's fun. It's a very quick game.
Yeah, I think the box says 30 minutes. That might be even on the long side, because you can lose this game really quick.
Yeah, so I think we played it at least 3 times in a row.
Yeah, and the first time I think we lost within like 5 minutes or so. So yeah, you can lose really quick in this game.
Yeah.
Anything that maybe doesn't stand out in a good way?
I think it may lean to the side of a little childish. It is for 7+.
Okay.
And so I don't think this is one that me and Lance are going to get out on the table, just us, very often. But I think it's one where we're going. It probably would come out quite a bit with the kids.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's just very straightforward. I think our 5-year-old could play this.
Yeah, I was thinking
with
the same
not
thing.
too much difficulty. So that's a big, definitely a family game for us. But if you maybe don't have kids, this may not be the game that you're gonna want to play too often.
I think this is the kind of game that the kids might be able to play by themselves.
Yes.
I don't think
we're always looking for that.
I don't know that you even need an adult really to kind of get this one to the table and the kids have a good time with. For me, I don't know if it's a con, but we've not won this game.
Yeah.
It's extremely difficult, which it may mean that it's a pro. I don't know. It kind of goes back and forth.
Or
but
that we're just really bad at it.
It could be we're really bad at it. I'm kind of thinking, can you beat this game? And surely I think you can, because otherwise, I don't know. I'm sure they've play tested it countless times and there was a success rate to it. I don't think it was a 0% success rate, but gosh darn it, we just can't seem to beat this game. It's very challenging. The dog seems to catch us no matter what we do. So maybe that's a pro, maybe that's a con. I don't know. But that's kind of where we're at with it. So, all right, let's get to our scores for it. Scale of 1 to 10, love to hate. What are you going to give Past the Party Food?
I am going to score this one differently. I'm putting it in my kids and families games. I'm not going to put it in the same categories as most of the games we play. So keep that in mind. But I would probably give it an 8.2 as far as family and kids games.
Yeah, so you really like it then.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll stay in the same light as what Sam is talking about there as a kid kind of game, a game that you're going to be playing with your children. It's an enjoyable experience when you look at it with that, and it's a time that I can sit down with my kiddos and do something that I really enjoy, and I can see they're having a good time with.
And there's not like little pieces that they're going to lose either.
Yeah, and I don't have to really explain to them what we're doing, or I don't think you should do that. I think you should maybe do this instead. Like, they seem to be able to pick up on it. Yeah, right. And so I will give this game pretty favorably scores. I'm going to give it a 7.4. Enjoy the experience. I wish we were better at it. I wish I felt like, I feel like we can definitely win, because I just don't feel like we can win. I don't know. But maybe we just need to get better at it. So 7.4, 8.2, that is our thoughts and scores on Past the Party Food. It is from Joey Games, brand new publisher. Leave us some comments down below. Let us know what you think about this particular game.
Make sure to like and subscribe and push that bell button so you get notifications of all our new content.
I'm Lance.
I'm Sam.
And we are Love to Hate, where we try to bridge the gap between gamers and non-gamers. We'll catch you next time.